Working with Tom is really exciting because he really is so concerned with everything being honest, which sometimes can be difficult in a movie where there are aliens and, you know, mad scientists, and you have to believe that that's your world. But that's also how you get really, really good performances. It has a little bit of everything, and for movies that are based off of comic books, I don't really know that I know another movie that's been like this one before, which is really, really exciting. When audiences sit down and watch this movie, what they're first going to see is like an actually really well-made film with really, really good performances. But they're also going to see imagery that's paired with a tone that I just don't think they've seen before. So I think everyone's jaws are going to drop and that their eyes are going to be open, and then they're probably going to forget to eat their snacks. My first impression of him was, this man is really smart, he's very kind, and he genuinely cares about film. And I remember seeing Zombieland and just being like, what an odd balance he's struck. And he really holds it all. And I think, you know, one of the main reasons why I wanted to do this project was not just because I wanted to see what kind of what this job, having a larger film to be in, would be like, but because I think Ruben is such an interesting person and he has such a unique perspective. And for me, I've always thought of him as someone who's a comedy fan. And then he's made all of these sort of different types of movies that all have a darker element. And he has really mastered them. So it's nice to have someone to trust, especially when you're like me and you feel like a newbie. And I really am. So it's been lovely to work with him, and I think he's very kind and very clear on what he wants.
She's a professional woman. She's works at a law firm, and she is ambitious. She's intelligent. She's really sharp, and she also isn't willing to settle, and makes a decision during the film that even if it breaks her heart, she has to ask for more out of a partner. Venom's a real shocker. But even more shocking is that there's a side of Venom that is so lovable and dear, and Anne comes to know that as well. It was Tom Hardy. He was the big-time draw for me. I just thought, that guy's one of the greats, and I'm going to learn, I'm going to have fun, I'm going to enjoy watching him, I'm going to enjoy being in a scene with him, and I know that he'll make me a better sparring partner because he works on such an unbelievably high level. Ruben was super open to the ideas that I had, and he really said, you're in charge of her, you get to decide, you're the boss here, so have fun. It's about a man who's dealing with a duality, who is dealing with a shadow side, and learning both how to wrangle that and also learning more about himself through the process. When we started making this movie, it was kind of at the sort of precipice of the Me Too movement. There was a lot going on. There was a lot swirling in the air, and I didn't want to play somebody who was passive. I didn't want to play somebody who was recessively feminine. So I envisioned somebody who literally wore the pants in the relationship. He's just such a visceral performer, and it's like watching an animal. They're not thinking. He's not thinking about what he's not telegraphing his next move, and so it's really exciting as a viewer because you're just waiting to see what happens. He never lets you get ahead of him.
She's amazing. She's so intelligent about it too. Like, she really, that's what's been really fun. It was not what I expected, doing a big superhero movie, but Michelle and Tom, they both really work around through, really dig down onto their characters. It's not just sort of like nothing's boilerplate. And I think in our first rehearsal, Michelle, we were talking about a scene that was like a complicated scene where we sort of trap Eddie in the room and we get the symbiote out of him. And to me, it was sort of like, wow, this is all like, okay, yeah, I get it. This makes a lot of sense. And she really wanted to really, drill down on it. And I was really impressed that, every single moment was an opportunity to get something, thematic and emotional that speaks to the characters at large over the whole piece. And it's been really fun the last, couple months to do that, with her. And she just really is a great custodian of the character. She's never just sort of passing off a moment just to sort of get through it. Everything, like I said, is an opportunity to really elevate the character and give you more about, what the character's backstory is. He's so kind of impressed by Eddie. I think he thinks he's kind of cool. And then we have this scene in the restaurant where, kind of all hell breaks loose. And I think he wants to help Eddie because he genuinely likes Eddie, but he also wants to help Anne, the woman that he loves, who still, because of their history, kind of, still cares about Eddie. But when he finally sees the alien, I think it's just his whole world is just shattered. He's a doctor, but he's not a mad scientist by any means. I think he's a very practical, down-to-earth guy, and this just, blows his hair straight back when he sees this alien. And it's kind of a sweet moment. I try to play it like he's like a kid seeing Santa Claus. It's just like, but if Santa Claus was really hideous and could rip your throat out at any second. It's been amazing, man. He's super dedicated to this, and I can't even begin to fathom what it's like to try to put this character together, because he's doing something. It's not only emotional. His character's having this seeming nervous breakdown. He's being, for lack of a better term, possessed by this alien who's also moving his body in different ways, and it almost seems like he's on marionette strings, some of the stuff that he does with his body, and that we were all wearing the earwigs so we could hear the Venom voice that he's hearing. And it's just, it's been amazing. I love Ruben because Ruben is just one of the most chilled out directors and people that you're ever gonna meet. Nothing ruffles that guy. So, I mean, there's a lot going on in this. I mean, he's been prepping this movie forever. It's been a long shoot. I mean, I think it's gonna be the better part of a year for him when it's all said and done. And he's just got such an even hand. He knows what he wants, but he also is really open to collaboration, which is, I've been very fortunate that, I've gotten to do a lot of improvisational stuff, and I love keeping things loose. To me, I always love sort of you build the structure of the scene, and then you break it back down again, and then you sort of play with the moving pieces and see what you can put back together. And Ruben's been really open to playing with these scenes. And it's been this nice sort of trickle down because, Tom loves to play and Michelle loves to experiment. So from the top down, it's just been this wonderful process of just, playing with all these really great toys. What Venom does that maybe some of the other ones don't get quite right is there's this delicious darkness to it. and that's why the fans love Venom in the first place, and none of that is lost. This movie delivers just all that, like, you know, bone-cracking, you know, gaping maw awesomeness that is Venom, so I think people are going to be pretty stoked.
One of the things about Ruben is you can tell as soon as you meet him, he's such a kind of playful guy. You know, he has a kind of keen sense of humor. He's very much into stand-up comedy, and he just has that kind of wicked sense of humor. That's the great thing with this film, is that we've got a lot of CGI, but we also have a lot of practical sets, a lot of environments that feel very lived in and real. You know, we shot in location in San Francisco, and you know, the art department is incredible on this film, and props and costumes, and they really kind of bring the world to life in a way that means that you don't have to think too much about the CGI aspect. And even with some of the more integrated stuff where you're performing with the symbiote, or the symbiote is taking over you, they really help to mold that around your performance. So you're not having to fit into a kind of narrow box. It's more that you give your performance and they'll try and enhance it with the symbiote. So yeah, I think that's just a testament to their skills and the level of technology we have now. Tom and I have known each other for quite a while, just from kind of London, and you know, we worked together a long time ago. We kept in touch, and you know, I think it's fair to say that Tom's one of the most exciting actors of his generation, and I think it's because he just brings a certain intensity to everything he does, and I think that's what audiences really enjoy. And it's like that working with him as well. You know, he's just he never compromises. He just always wants to make sure that the scene is as good as it can be, that we've explored all the different angles, that we think about all the different moments in every scene in a really detailed way. And so he just brings that really front-footed energy to everything that he does. And it's great to be around, because I think it forces everyone to do the same and to really kind of hone in on their work. Jenny is probably one of the funniest people I've ever met. She's just hilarious and has an amazing warmth about her. And I think this is an opportunity for her to kind of show a different color to audiences as well, outside of the amazing, you know, comedy that she writes and performs, and the work that she makes. She's just someone who's just so multi-talented and is inspiring to be around. Just a cool, really cool person to be spending time with on set.
The joy of this film and the joy of watching Tom Hardy's performance is getting to watch this dynamic of a buddy film, but all self-contained, so that he's literally talking to himself, and you're all along the ride, and it really feels like two different people. And it's a testament to the talent of Tom Hardy, but also just to the nature of the character. And I think why fans for so long have been so adamant about him is because it's just a completely unique dynamic. Even though they share a body or a person, they have different wants and needs, and so there is conflict inherent to the relationship. Venom, for example, wants to eat everybody, and Eddie is trying to hold him back from doing that. I think it'll resonate with fans. It feels like how it should feel. That's the Venom you want to see in a movie. As a true fan of the character, like as soon as you see him in the trailer, you're gonna be like, yep, they got it right. That's what I want to go see. I want to see that guy just go be badass. And so that's what he does. And I think they'll be really happy. There is an expectation with any kind of these comic book movies that there's going to be incredible action, because they're action heroes. So we definitely were interested in having pretty amazing stunts, and also stunts unique to the powers that Venom has. But yeah, I mean, in terms of incorporating them, we always wanted them to come from character and be a part of character. And so that's why I'm really actually very proud of the apartment scene, because it's a unique fight sequence in that this guy doesn't even really know what he's doing. He's almost being puppeteered as the fighting's happening. He's, tossing guys across the room, and Eddie himself is apologizing because he doesn't know what's happening, because Venom is the one ultimately doing it. And so as he's knocking somebody down, he's apologizing, "Oh my God, did I hurt you? I'm so sorry." And meanwhile, his arm's flying out and tossing another guy through the wall. And so I just thought that was just super funny, comedically, but also just really visual and unique. Tom Hardy has always been one of my favorite actors to watch on screen. He's just so interesting, and each of his roles are so unique, and he brings so much to them. And I don't know, I just was captivated by him, as I think most audiences are. And so just the thought of working with him and getting to watch him create this character was so exciting, because I truly believe he's of his generation, the greatest actor. She loves what she does, and for her, work is play. And it was such a joy to have her on set. And she's so effortlessly talented that, anything she does, you just kind of are invested in. But when it comes to the emotion of the movie, she just handles that in spades. She brings so much heart and feeling and elevates the scenes. In the relationship with Eddie just to a whole nother level.